What is up, guys? The UEFA Champions League is going to be back very soon with matchday numero 3 of the group stages. And that means that UCL Fantasy is also back. So in this video, we're going to do team selection, which players to pick this week and which ones to avoid. Tips for this match day. I'm gonna build my team with you guys. Let's go. So my last UCL Fantasy video was before the Champions League had even started. I haven't given updates since, so this is how we did so far. Match day 1 with my initial teams from the video, you know it. Made some tiny changes due to injuries and transfers, but I got 54 points. Fiago 69 was on match day 1, which was, yeah, pretty average. Not great, but it's okay. Then on match day 2 though, we really made up for that. 86 points. I did activate my limitless chip. An overpowered team for one match day. I thought it was the right time on match day 2. These were the lads I picked with my unlimited budget, and they performed really well for me, making me catch up to those competitive spots once again, because I can show you the FBArmy league table. Here you go. I am now on place 412 of around 4,500 members in our FBArmy Fantasy League, which is not bad. I think after match day 1 I was like 800, maybe even 1,000. I don't really know. But after those 86 points from match day 2, I climbed up the spots, and now I'm in the race because I want to get top 100, right? If I get top 100 in my own league, that would be great. You guys can let me know in the comments, where are you in the table of our FBArmy League? And in case you haven't joined yet, the join code should also be in the description and in the comments. Now let's get to the really interesting part. Match day 3, make transfers. So here we are on the transfer market, and I am now going to pull off a move that not everyone might agree with me on. I am going to play my second chip. After already playing Limitless last match day, I'm going to play my wildcard this match day. For those of you who still don't know what the wildcard is, so basically usually you have 2 free transfers here every match day in the group stages. But you always want your team to be very well adapted to the certain fixtures. For example, if a Lewandowski plays Dynamo Kiev, I'm rather going to pick him over a Haaland who plays Man City, just an example. And so the wildcard gives you unlimited transfers and lets you create a whole new team that will also stay. But contrary to the Limitless, you don't have unlimited budget, you have your normal budget. So why am I playing the wildcard right now? Simple, because in the Champions League, match day 3 and 4 of the group stages are the same. That gives me a perfectly adapted team for 2 match days in a row. Let's go. I think this is the right decision. Activate wildcard. This also makes this whole video even more fun and interesting because we can pick 15 players now instead of just 2. Now we have our 100 million euros budget left, and we're starting off our new team with our goalkeeper. There used to be Pedro Gonzalez from Chelsea. He was also our captain on match day 1. Did 6 points here and 2 on match day 2. Well, they lost to Juve. And you know what? I'm going to recover him because they're playing Malmö twice, and I think Malmö are potentially even the worst team in this Champions League season so far. They lost 3-0 against Juve and 4-0 against Zenit, so I don't think that they're going to score much on Chelsea. Yeah, he's not cheap because 6 million, but I think he's going to keep a clean sheet at least, and maybe even 2 in those 2 games against Malmö. So that should be a reliable option, giving us the chance to save some money on our second goalie. It's not going to be Gregor Kobel because BVB are playing Ajax twice, so I don't expect clean sheets here from Gregor Kobel, and it's a bit too uncertain here in these games. Instead, I'm going to use a goalkeeper that is the same price, Diogo Costa, Porto's goalie, who just broke into the starting 11 this season. You remember on match day 1 I still had Agustin Marquezin, the actual goalie of Porto. Now though, this younger guy has forced Marquezin out of Porto's starting 11. I also needed someone who plays on a different day than Mondi because he plays on the 20th of October and Diogo Costa plays on the 19th. So there weren't many options for this price range, and Diogo Costa seemed like the most reasonable one for me, but always keeping in mind that Edouard Mondi will probably end up with more points and in my first 11. So now that's sorted, let's move on with the defense, and here I had Baku, Mele, Kimmich, and on the bench Guerreiro. I'm gonna tell you, none of these is in my 11 now. For Baku, we're gonna go for a defender that has often been written off already, is a left back, but this season he is proving that he's still worth a lot. Yeah, he's also scored the most points this season, joined with Cristiano Alexandro. 5.6 million. He's enjoying kind of a small revival this season. Well, Juve aren't at their best, but he's one of their most consistent players, and they're also slowly starting to pick up form, and I decided for Alexandro because they're playing Zenit, who are not a bad team at all, don't get me wrong. Zenit only lost 1-0 to Chelsea and beat Malmö 4-0, but I do expect this tie to be low scoring. I can definitely imagine 1 draw, maybe even 0-0, and 1 close Juventus win, and I do think that Juve will keep 1 clean sheet at least in these 2 games. So that is one of the reasons I went for Alexandro, but also because of his offensive contribution. He does a lot of crosses, has the potential to get assists, so I have a sort of good feeling with Alexandro. He's going to contribute something against Zenit and has the potential to get clean sheets. He's also only selected by 5% of the players, not too mainstream. This is a player I like against Zenit. I'm backing Alexandro. Now, defender numero 2 comes from a team that most of you will probably not be be backing at all anymore in this fantasy game. But I'm backing this guy, and I'm also going to tell you why I'm sort of backing this team. And this guy is Ronald Araujo from Barca. So why do I pick a Barca player even though these guys are so damn shambolic so far in this Champions League season? Yeah, the memes are fun and everything, and Barca are really, really bad. But let's be honest, they're going to beat Dynamo Kiev at least once. And I do expect 4 points at least from them because the pressure is on for them. They do have to deliver now. I just can't see Barca losing this, especially because Dynamo Kiev have, just like Barca, not scored a single goal yet in these two games. And so I'm actually betting on a clean sheet for Barca here, which seems pretty mental, but I'm going with Ronald Araujo. And he could surely also get points by ball recoveries. I have a lot of trust in this young lad. He's only 4.5 million, which is very, very cheap. Only selected by 2%. This seems like the perfect option for me. Just because Barcelona are so bad, no one is trusting them. I'm going to go the opposite direction and trust at least Araujo here. Now, we're going from a rather uncertain and risky bet to someone that is almost certain to do well here, in my opinion. This is not Joshua Kimmich, even though he might do well too. But we're going to a player that hasn't scored many points yet. Chelsea's centre-back veteran has scored 5 points so far, as he didn't play a lot against Zenit. Only 7 minutes, but then he played 90 against Juventus. Did very well there, to be fair. He recovered 8 balls just because they didn't keep a clean sheet. He didn't score many points here. But the same thing as with Edouard Mendy. They're playing Malmö, who I think are the weakest team in this competition. Offensively, they don't have any firepower, to be fair. And I do think Chelsea will win these games comfortably. I can definitely imagine 2 clean sheets. For only 5 million, this is a safe bet for me. So 2 defenders to go. We had Guerreiro and Nuno Mendes here on the bench. And the first one is going to be Guerreiro's replacement. He plays for a team that has only 1 point so far in their group, so might be risky as well. Denzel Dumfries, the Dutch wingback that did so well at the Euros, now moved to Inter. And he also scored solid points last game as they kept a clean sheet against Shakhtar. But overall, Inter aren't doing well yet in this group as they only have 1 point. And now they're playing surprise team Sheriff. Are Sheriff really going to continue like this and beat Inter as well? Or is normality returning to this group and Inter will, as expected, beat this massive underdog? I kind of went for the second option. I don't know if Inter will win both games, but I do expect them to win at least once. And they should also be able to keep clean sheets, let's be honest. But Sheriff have a really great defense, so I didn't go for an Inter attacker. Instead, I went for a defender. Out of these defenders, I went for Denzel Dumfries since he is only 5 million, selected by just 1% of the players. Denzel Dumfries is sort of a differential that I'm going to put in my team. I have a feeling he's going to do well. And the very last defender here, I can already give spoilers, is also from the same group and a player that has scored fairly well so far. Real Madrid's Brazilian centre-back, Eder Militao. 5.1 million, 100k more expensive than Dumfries. Why am I picking him? Well, simply because I do expect Real Madrid to break their curse against Shakhtar and get at least 4 points from these games. Shakhtar as well haven't scored a single goal so far in the competition, so I think a Real Madrid defender is very reasonable. Eder Militao is, yeah, guaranteed to play 90 minutes. He played 90 in both games. And at 5.1 million, he's also the cheapest of those guaranteed Real Madrid starting defenders, so I think this is a good choice. Now, 8 players are left, 5 midfielders and 3 forwards. The first one is going to be very quick. Edson Alvarez was on our bench before. He is literally so mainstream, selected by 49% of the players, but there is a reason for that, a valid reason. He's very cheap, among the cheapest midfielders in the game, and he is a guaranteed starter, and that makes him the only guaranteed starter to be this cheap. And that's why I'm going to recover him. I'm going to put him here, not because I think he's going to score a ton of points, but mainly because I do need this money, this freed up budget for our 7 players that are left now, 4 midfielders and 3 forwards. This is getting interesting now. Midfield first, should we start with the cheapest one or with the most expensive one? I think we're going to go with the cheapest one. Ruslan Malinovsky, sadly, my lad, my boy, is not in the 11 this time. Instead, I have a very, very cheap option. I don't know why this guy is even so cheap. A bargain, Brahim Diaz. 10 points so far, 6 million euros. That is literally nothing. Alvarez is cheap at 4.5 million, but 6 million is still very cheap. Starter for Milan, was great last season. This season, he's carrying it on. Has scored 4 points with an assist against Atletico and also scored against Liverpool. Now, they're playing Porto twice, and as I said, Porto are definitely the weakest team in this group. I know I have their goalie in my team, but that doesn't mean that I'm betting 2 clean sheets Porto. I still believe that Brahim Diaz is a great option. He might score a goal or give an assist in these 2 fixtures. And of course, as a midfielder, he can also get points from clean sheets, from ball recoveries. There's a lot of options, and I think Brahim Diaz, I think his fair price would actually be 7 million at least. For 6, there's no way that I'm not going to pick him up. And we're saving money yet again. We have 53.8 million left, more than half of the budget for only 6 players. That means that now we can get our hands on the real top stars. Our next guy is actually going to be the #1 player in terms of points scored so far. Christopher Kunku, 29 points in just 2 games. That is mental. Well, it is mainly because of his performance against Man City, where he got a hat-trick. But even against Brugge, he scored a goal and recovered 6 balls. This guy is having a mental season also in the league, I'm telling you. Leipzig aren't a great team this season. They're so inconsistent. And now you might be wondering why I'm backing a Leipzig player then in these 2 fixtures against PSG, possibly the best team in the world. Don't get me wrong, I don't think that Leipzig will win these games. But I do expect high scoring games, 3-2 PSG, 4-2 PSG, but Leipzig will surely score. And if there is anyone to score for Leipzig this season so far, then it is Christopher Kunku. So I'm putting my trust in Christopher Kunku yet again at only 7.7 million for these points that he scored so far. That's just mental. Let's be honest, it's just crazy. And we still have 46 million left now for 5 players. The next one is probably the riskiest pick of them all, of these whole 15 players. It is a player that no one has picked. Goretzka is a very reliable option, but I'm gonna go for a player that has 0 points so far and 0% selected. Pedro Gonzalez, also known as Pote. Sporting's absolute key player last season is still injured, and that's why he hasn't played any UCL games yet. I am not sure if he is going to be back for this fixture against Besiktas. For this one, surely. I've talked to some Sporting fans myself, and they told me there is a good chance that he's going to come back. And in case that happens, I have a great player at my hands for only 8 million. That is basically up front for Sporting. He's not really a midfielder. He's basically a winger or even a striker. Last season, he played pretty much as a striker, and he scored like over 20 league goals. They're playing Besiktas, who is the weakest team in this group. Well, they both have 0 points, but I do think that Sporting is a step ahead of Besiktas. They are really under pressure now. Similar situation to Barcelona. And if Pote, aka Pedro Gonzalez, comes back, he is going to be among their scorers. I'm pretty sure about that. Now, this move might not even be risky anymore if we look at the fact that Besiktas Sporting is actually the earliest game alongside the City game of the new matchday. So I will have the opportunity to check the starting 11 before the deadline of this. So if I see Pote is not playing, then of course I'm going to transfer him out and get another one in. So at first glance, this move might seem a bit risky, but if we consider that, then there is actually 0 risk. Now, the next move is going to be very quick and dirty. I am recovering Mo Salah, playing Atletico, who are very great defensively. Yes, but Mo Salah this season is on another level. I do think that Liverpool are also going to decide this head-to-head battle against Atletico for themselves. Kloppo's boys are simply one of the strongest teams on the planet at this moment, once again, and I am convinced that they're going to get their revenge against Atletico. Might not win this one in Madrid, but at home, I'm pretty sure at Anfield they're going to win. Atletico don't always keep clean sheets. They also conceded against Milan and only won due to a ton of luck, let's be honest. And in addition, as I said in the last video, only 10.5 million. His price didn't rise. He is regarded as a midfielder here. Mo Salah in this form, you just can't leave him out. You can't. And now we have 27.6 million euros left. 3 players. The first one is, from my perspective, a very, very obvious one. Sebastian Haller is also interesting. He only costs 8.7 and 28 points. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna go for any player in this Dortmund Ajax fixture because it's simply too uncertain who is gonna win there. Instead, Romelu Lukaku, big Rom, at 10.5 million, not cheap, rather expensive, and he has so far scored 11 points. Well, rather disappointing against Juventus, but as I said, I'm backing Chelsea fully against Malmö in these 2 fixtures. This is a feast for Big Rom. There is no way that Big Rom isn't scoring in these fixtures, honestly. So that is guaranteed points. He's going in my team. I think for this match you simply have to go for the 3 Chelsea players against Malmö. There is no way that these guys aren't scoring well. I'm realizing I'm so confident about this. Imagine the scenes if Malmö actually win. Oh my god, I would get so much backlash. But back to the team. Striker numero 2 is gonna be a player of a team that I also think will win these 2 fixtures now clearly. Is he here? No, you see, I'm only picking players that haven't scored well so far. Yeah, 8 points at least. Karim, the dream. When you lose to Sheriff as a club like Real Madrid, bam, the pressure in your ass is burning. Is that even a saying? I don't know. But they're playing Shakhtar and they simply have to win. And Benzema is going to score. As simple as that. No further explanation, period. No, seriously, I think Benzema for these fixtures against Shakhtar is a great option. Since Shakhtar Real Madrid is a fixture that I am targeting personally. Not 3, but at least 2 Real Madrid players are in my team. And a defender surely, because Shakhtar aren't great offensively so far. And Karim Benzema, I think he's the most likely to deliver up front. Now, that is just 1 player left and 7.1 million euros remain in our budget. And I think we can already see him here. Karim the Dream numero 2. Is this the real Karim the Dream so far? He has 24 points. Karim Adeyemi. Germany have always lacked a striker in the last years, and now it seems like they could finally be finding a real gem here. 2 UCL games this season. Man of the match, or player of the match, in the game against Lille, and also man of the match in the game against Sevilla. 2 games, 2 man of the match awards. This guy is honestly mental. He's 19 years old, 3 months younger than me, and he just earned 3 penalties, and he also scored both goals against Lille and earned the penalty as well. I know they're playing Wolfsburg, and I'm backing Wolfsburg to at least go through, and Wolfsburg have a great defense, so that kind of contradicts. But on the other hand, Salzburg also have an insane attack, the best attack of this group, and I do think that Karim Adeyemi will score in either of these fixtures. At only 7.1 million, he's still very cheap, and I think for this budget that we have left here, there is no one even close to his level. Even though he is so cheap, he's still only selected by 3% of the players. What are you guys sleeping on? We have our UCL Fantasy team for Matchday 3 completed, and here you go. And this is how I'm going to be going into Matchday number 3. I just did the substitutions in order to have only players from the second day, like from Wednesday, on the bench, because it wouldn't make a lot of sense to have Tuesday players on the bench, obviously. And so I'm going to see who of these guys didn't perform on Tuesday, and according to that, I'm going to sub these guys in if needed. You guys know the vibe. You guys are playing UCL Fantasy, hopefully. If not, join the league right now. Fiago 69ers are waiting for you. I want to make at least, well, 65 points, because I have this team adapted. I used my wildcard, and these guys, I think, can do it. I'm very confident. Karim the Dream is going to be my first captain against Shakhtar. This is my team. I'm happy with it. All right, guys, now it is your turn. Let me know your team down in the comments. Who are you picking on this Matchday 3? Why are you picking them, and who are you avoiding? I hope that you could at least take some advice from this video, and let me know if I should do these team selections for every single match day, because I would love to do so. Once again, if you haven't joined the FBArmy UCL Fantasy League yet, then it's time to do so right now. Link and also the join code is in the description and in the comments. There is a prize pool of 569 euros paid out of my pocket. I hope to win some of it myself. Alright, I'm gonna get myself a tea now because I'm pretty sick, you might hear. We're gonna see each other hopefully for match day 4. And up until then, Fantasy Fiago's out. Peace.